and we'll talk about the skills. Okay. So before we get into the entire presentation, I just want to talk about Action Coach. And I am a business coach from Action Coach, founder and CEO of AdConnect Redefining Businesses. We have a strong team of people who are working with us together and helping our clients to develop and to do better in their own businesses. So I am also a certified DISC practitioner from 247 assessment, and we specialize in creating mastery in your business process. So we normally talk about why, what, when, who, and then ultimately come to how. So let me talk about Mr. Brad Sugars, who is the owner of the world's #1 business coaching firm, having more than 1,000 offices across 85 plus countries today. The entire organization is privately owned by Mr. Brad. The business was started in Australia, and now currently they are in Nevada, Las Vegas. The vision of this business of business coaching is all about world abundance through business re-education. Now, the phrase of the world abundance through business re-education means that we are trying to tell you what are the different ways of business to accelerate the growth. But at the same time, we don't teach you how to do your business because you are the master of your own business. Currently, we are coaching over more than 15,000 businesses across the world in countries like Ireland, Australia, Malaysia, India, New Zealand. So that's what our fraternity is all about. So we have discussed a lot about in the part 1, where we discussed the different type of negotiations. And then in the part 2, we discussed about what are the 4 steps of negotiation, like preparation, bargaining, and all those things. We talked about ZOPA and other aspects of the negotiation. And coming back to today's topic is how can you be a better negotiator? And of course, a deal closure. Because when you're trying to negotiate, either you are closing the negotiation with an idea that we will take up this negotiation later. Today, it is not coming up to the desired result. That is one type of closure. And the second type of closure is basically when you close the deal and it is win-win situation for both the party and for you. So today's discussion is all about how can you be a better negotiator or a deal closure. Knowledge is essential. We learn a lot of things. We keep on learning every time and try to execute those learnings in our day-to-day business, in our professions, and each and every walks of life. But my question is, what do you need to execute your knowledge? Because having knowledge is, of course, essential. It is very good. It is appreciable. But if you are not able to execute that knowledge with the skill sets, with the required skill sets, then the essence of that knowledge is not actually understood. It's not actually explored in the market. Do we agree for this? Because if we do not execute our knowledge, our learning, how will it be helpful to the community for which we are doing our businesses, we are having our profession? So it has to be executable, and to execute it, we require a lot of skills, particularly set for that type of experiment. So this was basically, I understood that people learn a lot of things, and we were learning for the last 2 episodes, what is negotiation, what are the 4 steps of negotiation, what is Badna, what is ZOPA, and with each and every steps. But the problem is, if the person is not having the required skill sets to use these 4 steps or to understand what is negotiation and how helpful it is for both the parties sitting across the table, then the entire process will go futile. So let me continue on this. Let's take the most important skill set. There are so many skill sets required. It's basically the mindset, it's basically your knowledge, everything is a part of the skill set. The way you present yourself, the way your body language speaks, so everything is a part of skills. But today we take about 4 or 5 of the most important skills which are required to be a good negotiator, and let's groove into it process by process. Step by step, we'll talk about each one so that it becomes easy to become a good negotiator. So, welcome to this episode again. We are talking about the important skill sets that normally a good negotiator possesses, carry with them to make them a good negotiator, to make them a good deal closer. Let's take one by one. The first one is communication skill. By far, the most important skill is a good communication, a brief communication, and which is actually a to-the-point communication. Now, why it is required? It is required to make the entire context time-bound, result-oriented, and easily understood, so that you are not wasting your time in making the ambience. You are utilizing your time, which is valuable money for you and for the party who has been sitting with you for the negotiation. They become easy. So that is what is called communication skill. There are a lot of communication skills, a lot of ways the communication skills have been described. For example, one of the communication skill is also how you enter the room, or when the party is entering your room, and how do you warmly greet your party. That is one communication, which is your body language. There is another communication is how you actually step into the context of the discussions without wasting time and without making it a hasty process. So when you take the communication, it's a vast subject. The third part of communication is what are the right language you are using to make your party comfortable in your negotiation deal. Because try to understand one thing, if your party is not comfortable in the discussion, he will never participate in the discussions. Sometimes we use our language as English for a communication deal, whereas the other party is not so much comfortable with the language. It may happen. So when it does happen like that, you need to switch over to either to Hindi or some languages which both of you can communicate. Communication is not a one-way track, it's a both-way track. When you speak, somebody should understand, and when the party speaks, you should understand. That is how the communication. Communication may also have a little bit of write-ups in before you, a little bit of points before you, and then we can talk about those points. See, today we're talking about communication skill, we'll talk about planning, we'll talk about emotional attitude, we'll talk about value creation or valuation creation, we talk about strategy. So if we make this a plan and present it in table to your party, communication becomes clear. So we can talk about more about this. It's a never-ending subject. It keeps on evolving, developing every day. So if you want to know more about it, you want to have more discussions, please put your sign or interest in the Facebook Live. We will definitely get back to you. The second part is the planning. What is that which you have brought with you for negotiation? Have you planned plan B, plan A, plan C? How will it work? Whether you first talk about plan A and then you switch over to plan C and then come back to plan B, which is your best thing, which is the subject that you will start with. So it has to be a planned way. Like today we are speaking, I have planned it that this is the way I will speak about it. So when you do that, the time, the value of the time is well respected both by you and your party. So planning is very important. You have to jot it down in the points and put the agenda before your party and say that, yes, sir, we want to discuss about these points, and these are the areas where we have to get deeper into it so that you understand it, what is the subject and why we are in this discussion. So that becomes the planning part. And next is a very important part, which normally we avoid sometimes or we miss it out, or maybe we have got a bad time while coming to the office, but still emotional attitude is one of the key parameters for having a good negotiation deal. Why I tell you? The reason is very simple. When a prospect, a buyer comes to you with in mind that he wants to buy something, a product or a services, what he is actually looking for. Is he just buying it because he has to buy it? Or is he buying it so that the services or the product will make his life easier? The product and the services what he is trying to buy will probably help him to make his life easy and save his valuable time. And here comes the emotion part. If you just put the words after words and sentences after sentences, blah, 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 these are the products, these are the good points, these are the features, these are my areas, and this is the price, that's it. It doesn't carry that emotion of helping my customer to buy my product or services. Because selling, S-A-L-E, sales is nothing but to help your buyer to buy the product or services. And when you help somebody, you help with a good emotion. You help with a good purpose. So often this is neglected. Sometimes it becomes a little bit of, out of the track. Sometimes you may become irritated at why it is happening, that I'm trying to make him understand so much, but still it is not happening. And you try to, make hasty decisions, take a very fast decision, sometimes not in favor of the deal, but just to close the deal. So control your emotions, show your emotions, and display it properly at a proper stage so that it helps the buyer to actually buy the product. Coming to the fourth point, many times, or maybe I'm wrong, in all times, we actually try to value the product. What I mean is that we are always coming up to the price of the product, the value of the product. It says that, my product is the best, so my price is the best. And so I have got a better pricing. I've got a good pricing. But is it a valuation of your product which you are selling, or you are actually creating a value of your product, that how this product will be useful for your buyer? Understand a very important aspect of selling is that if the value of the services and the products that you're trying to sell to your party sits on a very high value emotionally by usefulness, maybe your buyer's attention will not be so much towards the price of the product. But sometimes we feel that, if we are selling a product which is maybe we are mastering that, maybe we are very much exclusive in that, and we think that we are out of competition, so whatever we want, we can. I'll tell you a small example. Majority of you are having a bike, or maybe you are having a two-wheeler, a four-wheeler also. Why you tend to go to the same petrol pump to fill gas in your vehicle? Because the price of the gas, the fuel, is same in all across within the city. Sometimes it varies when you go out of the city. That is different. Within the city, you tend to fill up your vehicle from a particular, pump. The reason is you like to go there. That agency has created a value within you that, you get a better service here. Fuel everybody gives, but probably we give you a better service by cleaning the windshield of the car, by cleaning the windows of the car, by asking you, sir, can I fill up your mobile and all those things? They talk to you. There are some petrol pumps which I've seen that, they talk to you, they ask you, what is the problem, how your car is doing. These have got nothing in a financial value. This is nothing but value creation. So it always takes you to the place where you find value for yourself. That is all. It is not the value of the fuel which you are buying. You tend to go to the same departmental store whenever you want to buy something for your household. That is not only because of there are some difference in the price of the market, but also that they have created a value within you, and it pulls you down there so that you always go there and buy your day-to-day needs. I'm sharing a very practical example. I stay in Mumbai, and I am accessible to a departmental store called Star Bazaar in Andheri West. And I'm also accessible to another departmental store in Malad in Goregaon West. Right? So one belongs to the Reliance and one belongs to Star Bazaar. Same things more or less are available in both the places. What drives me is the comfort level of the process of buying. How my eyes gets attracted towards the display of materials. So we tend to move to those places which gives us more comfort in buying a product or a services. And that is why we keep on going up to that level, to those departmental stores. Same is that. If the buyer, if the party gets value with talking to you, by buying your product, by buying your services, of course, they will less care of the valuation, the price of the product. With this, I come to the fifth stage, strategy. How are you placing your discussions? How are you placing your strategies one by one? If the plan A fails, how you move to the plan B? If the plan B fails, how you move to the plan C? Or you're not moving to the plan C and closing it. Closing is two types in type of negotiations. One is you close it because both of you are not going in the same page. It may happen. Instead of taking a very hasty decision or a hasty step, you can always close the negotiation at one particular moment. So that's a strategy. And we will continue this next week or sometime later with a particular date and frame of time. We have seen in the different courts and different areas of where law is being practiced, we have seen that when there is a process happening and then the court is adjourned for a particular date. So because the decision cannot be taken at that particular moment, so they temporarily close and push it to another date of negotiation, another date of discussion. So that's a strategy. Plan A, plan B, plan C, either to close or to cut down so much that the customers are agreeing to buy your product or the services. But there's a caution here. I want to state that caution out here, and I want to reinstate that particular caution time and time again. If you try to sell a product or a services only by the valuation of the product, sometimes it does not work. And if it does not work, then it will never come back for a second chance. Because once it is lost, it is lost. So try to push. I know it is very difficult, but let's try to push the pricing part of the product and services towards the last phase of the negotiation table. Let's talk about more value creation. Let's talk about more emotional, touch with the client, talking about a little bit of various subjects which can help him, which actually helps him to ease out, to make him comfortable. Put a plan before him that these are the points which we want to discuss today with you, and then come to a amicable solution, an amicable result, which is helpful for both of us. And of course, all these things comes broadly under your communication part. So, my dear friends, this is the end of the Facebook Live for the subject of negotiations. We will come up with a different subject at a different time, and we'll meet you again on next week with a subject called Why Sales is Not Selling, and what are the 4 pillars of the sales. We'll come up with this subject on 24th of July, same time. Till then, goodbye. Have a nice the rest of the week. Wish you all the best, and thank you very much.